You know what's wild about money? Most people are playing a game they don't even know they're losing. They're out here saving like crazy, checking their bank balance every morning, feeling good about that number going up. But here's the thing that's going to sting. They're doing it completely backwards. They're putting their money in all the wrong places, in all the wrong order, and then wondering why they're still broke 3 years later. Let me hit you with a stat that should honestly make you uncomfortable. Right now, 59% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency expense. Not $10,000, not $5,000, $1,000. That's like 2 car payments or 1 trip to the dentist. And before you think this is just about broke people or college kids, we're talking about people making $50,000, $60,000, even $80,000 salaries who are still living paycheck to paycheck. Hi, I'm Matt, and on this channel, I break down personal finance that actually makes sense. If you want to stop being broke and start building actual wealth, hit that subscribe button because we're about to flip everything you thought you knew about saving money. Here's what nobody tells you about money management. It's not about how much you make. It's about where you put it first. Most people get their paycheck, throw everything into their checking account, pay their bills, buy whatever they want, and then if there's anything left over, maybe they save it. What I'm about to show you are the 7 specific places your money needs to go the moment you get paid. Not eventually, not when you feel like it, immediately. And the order matters way more than you think. If you're putting money in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're basically setting yourself up to fail. This isn't taught in school. Your parents probably didn't know this stuff either. Financial illiteracy gets passed down through generations. But that stops today. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly where every dollar should go, why it matters, and how to set this up so it happens automatically. But here's what nobody tells you about that first place your money needs to go before we even get started. So place number 1 is actually before you even see your paycheck. I'm talking about your 401k or whatever retirement account your employer offers. Now I know what you're thinking. Matt, I'm 28 years old. Why am I worried about retirement? Because compound interest is literally the closest thing to magic that exists in finance, and you're wasting it by waiting. Here's the deal. For 2026, you can contribute up to $24,500 to your 401k. That's up from $23,500 this year. And if you're 50 or older, you can throw in an extra $8,000 on top of that. But here's the beautiful part. This money comes out before you ever see it. It's like it never existed. You can't spend what you don't see. Let me ask you directly, what's worse, dying or running out of money before you die? Because that's the reality for a lot of people. They hit 70, they've got maybe 15, 20 years left, and they're broke. They're choosing between medication and groceries. And it's not because they didn't work hard, it's because they didn't start saving when it actually mattered. Even if you can only do 5% right now, do it, especially if your employer matches. If your company is matching your 401k contributions and you're not taking it, you're literally leaving free money on the table. That's like someone offering you a $20 bill and you saying, meh, I'm good. It makes 0 sense. Now, place number 2 is where that paycheck actually lands, your checking account. This is your money hub. Everything flows through here. But here's where most people completely lose the plot. They think the checking account is the destination. It's not. It's a train station. Money comes in, money goes out to specific places, but it doesn't just sit there accumulating. About 90% of people never get past this step. They get their paycheck, it hits their checking account, and then it's just chaos. They're paying bills from it, buying stuff from it, transferring money when they remember, and then acting surprised when there's nothing left at the end of the month. You need automatic withdrawals set up from your checking account to multiple other accounts. Not just one savings account, multiple accounts for multiple purposes. Because here's the thing that's going to change everything for you. You need to stop thinking of your money as one big pile and start thinking of it as an army where every soldier has a specific job. Let me pause here for a second because this is important. If you don't have direct deposit set up with your employer, you need to fix that immediately. Direct deposit means everything can happen automatically. No trips to the bank, no forgetting to deposit checks, no delays. Set it up today.
All right, place number 3 is where reality hits a lot of people in the face. Your necessities. And I'm not talking about what you think are necessities. I'm talking about actual, bare bones, keep you alive and off the streets necessities. Food, shelter, transportation, healthcare, and utilities. That's it. Notice what's not on that list? Netflix, DoorDash, that $7 coffee, the new iPhone. We're talking about rent, electricity, water, groceries, and healthcare, because medical bills can literally bankrupt you. Here's where people get themselves into trouble. They can't tell the difference between needs and wants. They think they need to go to that restaurant because it's Friday. They think they need the newest sneakers. No, those are wants, and wants come later, way later. If you're skipping minimum payments on your credit cards or student loans to buy wants instead of covering needs, you're playing a game you can't win. Pay your necessities first, then pay those minimum payments on any debt you have. Everything else can wait. McDonald's is not a necessity. Learning to cook basic meals costs less than DoorDash fees. Transportation is a necessity, but that doesn't mean you need a brand new car with a $600 monthly payment. A reliable used car is a necessity. The luxury SUV with heated seats is a want. And healthcare. Never skimp on healthcare. People skip doctor appointments trying to save money, then end up with a medical emergency and $50,000 in debt. That's not saving money. That's playing Russian roulette with your finances. What percentage of your income are you spending on actual necessities versus stuff you just want? Be honest, because if that number is above 50-60% of your take-home pay, you've got a spending problem or an income problem, and both need to be fixed before you can move forward with actual wealth building. But here's where things get interesting, and this is the part that's going to save you when everything else falls apart. Place number 4 is your emergency fund, and this is where I'm going to hit you with some stats that should honestly make you panic a little. 1 out of 3 Americans, 33% of the entire country, has exactly $0 saved for emergencies. Nothing. Zilch. They're one car breakdown away from complete financial chaos. And even the people who do have emergency funds, the median amount is $500. $500! That's barely enough to cover a flat tire and a tow truck, let alone an actual emergency. An emergency fund is not for Christmas gifts. It's not for vacations. It's not for treating yourself because you had a hard week. It's for actual emergencies. Your car dies and you need it to get to work. Your tooth is screaming at you and you need it pulled before you lose your mind. You lose your job and need to eat while you find a new one. Those are emergencies. Now here's what's wild about right now. In 2025, we saw 1.1 million layoffs across the United States. Let me repeat that. 1.1 million people lost their jobs. That's 65% higher than the same period the year before. Companies like Amazon, Target, and UPS were cutting people left and right. October alone had 153,774 layoff announcements, the highest for that month in 22 years. Tech jobs got hammered 17% worse than last year because companies realized they could replace humans with AI or just cut costs and make the remaining people do more work. So when people ask me, Matt, why do I need an emergency fund when I've got a stable job? I want to show them those numbers and ask them how stable they really think their job is. Because those 1.1 million people thought they had stable jobs too. Then one day they showed up to work and security was walking them to their desk to pack up their stuff. Now here's the goal. You want at least $2,500 in an easily accessible account as your starter emergency fund. Not $100, not $500, at least $2,500. Once you've got that locked down, you start building it up toward $5,000, maybe $10,000 if you've got a family or high monthly expenses. And yes, this needs to happen even if you're in debt, especially if you're in debt. Because here's what happens when you don't have an emergency fund. Every little unexpected expense, and trust me, they will keep coming, forces you deeper into debt. Your car breaks down, you don't have cash, so you throw it on a credit card at 22% interest. Now you're not just broke, you're paying interest on being broke. It's a trap, and the only way out is to have that buffer sitting there ready to go. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you looked at your emergency fund balance? Like actually opened the app and checked? If the answer is, what emergency fund? Then we've got work to do. Keep this money liquid. A separate checking or savings account works perfectly. Don't tie it up in investments or CDs or anything you can't access immediately. This is your everything just went wrong money, and you need to be able to grab it fast. High-yield savings accounts are paying around 4.20% APY right now as of December, so at least your emergency fund can grow a little while it's sitting there.
Place number 5 is where things get serious, paying off your debt. And I'm not going to give you the same tired advice everyone else does. Forget the debt snowball method where you pay off the smallest balance first for motivation. Forget the debt avalanche where you tackle the highest interest rate first. I'm going to show you something better, the 3-wave debt strategy. Think of your debt like an ocean during a storm. You've got different waves coming at you at different speeds with different levels of danger. You can't fight them all at once, but you also can't ignore any of them. You have to be strategic about which wave you handle first. Wave 1 is the tsunami, your emergency tier debt. This is credit card debt above 15% APR, payday loans, personal loans above 10%, anything that's charging you interest rates that would make a loan shark blush. This debt is financial cancer. It's growing faster than you can possibly keep up with if you're just paying minimums. A $5,000 credit card balance at 22% interest? If you're only paying the minimum, you'll be paying that off for 15 years and end up paying over $10,000 total. That's double what you originally borrowed. This is the wave that will drown you if you don't handle it immediately. Every dollar you can throw at this after covering your necessities and emergency fund needs to go here. Attack this aggressively like your financial life depends on it, because it does. With everything that happened in 2025, those 1.1 million layoffs, companies cutting people loose, you cannot afford to be carrying high-interest debt right now. Wave 2 is the current, your medium priority debt. Car loans in the 6 to 9% range, personal loans around 6 to 10%, anything that's not going to destroy you but is definitely holding you back. Tackle this with moderate aggression. Make more than the minimum payment when you can, but don't drain your emergency fund or skip retirement contributions to speed this up. Wave 3 is the ripple, your low priority debt. Student loans at 4 to 5%, mortgages at 4 to 5%, anything where the interest rate is low enough that you could theoretically make more money investing than you'd save by paying it off early. Pay your minimums, keep everything current so your credit score stays healthy, but also simultaneously invest because the math works out better that way. Now, here's where people get themselves in trouble. They try to avoid their debt. They stop opening mail from their lenders, they ignore calls from debt collectors, they pretend like if they don't think about it, it'll just go away. It won't. Your credit score will tank, you'll get hit with late fees and collection attempts, and eventually they might sue you or garnish your wages. You have to confront this stuff head on. I know it's uncomfortable. I know looking at that debt total makes you want to throw your phone across the room, but the only way out is through, and the longer you wait, the deeper the hole gets. Don't avoid your debt, don't pretend it doesn't exist, and don't let it control your life. Attack it strategically with the 3-wave system, and you'll actually see progress instead of just treading water for years. But once you've got that emergency fund built and you're making real progress on debt, there's another layer of protection you need.
Place number 6 is what I call your income replacement fund, and this is probably the most enjoyable step in this entire process, because it's where you start feeling actually secure. We're talking about saving up 4 to 8 months of your total living expenses, not your total income, but what you actually need to survive each month. Some people push this all the way to a year if they're really paranoid. And honestly, after what we saw in 2025, I don't blame them. Let me tell you a story. When Bill Gates started Microsoft, he wanted to save up enough cash to pay all of his employees for an entire year, even if the company wasn't making any money. Why? Because he realized that investors can be unpredictable, products can flop, and markets can crash. But if he always had that cushion, he could weather any storm. You're not running Microsoft, but the principle is exactly the same. You need enough money saved that if you lost your job today, you could live comfortably for months while you figure out your next move. And this isn't just paranoid thinking. We literally just watched 1.1 million people get laid off in 2025.
October alone saw over 153,000 layoff announcements, the highest October number in 22 years. Fed officials are warning about recession risks because consumer confidence is tanking and companies are planning future layoffs. This isn't theoretical. This is happening right now. So where do you keep this money? Not in your regular checking account where it'll get mixed up with your daily spending. Not in some investment account where the market could crash right when you need it. You want this in a high-yield online savings account that's earning you actual interest while keeping your money safe and accessible. Right now, in December 2025, online savings accounts are paying anywhere from 3.3% to 4.20% APY, depending on where you look. Compare that to traditional brick-and-mortar banks paying like 0.01% APY, basically nothing. With inflation currently sitting at 3%, you want your savings account to at least keep pace with that, ideally beat it. Let me ask you something. If you lost your job today, how long could you survive on what you have saved right now? 1 month, 2 months, or would you be scrambling by next week? Because that answer tells you everything you need to know about your financial security. Build this fund up methodically. Start with 1 month of expenses, then push to 3, then 6, then 8. And yes, I know it feels like a lot of money just sitting there not doing anything. But this isn't dead money. This is peace of mind money. This is I can walk into my boss's office and quit if I need to money. This is freedom. But now, finally, we get to the place where your money actually starts working for you instead of you working for your money.
Place number 7 is investing. And this is where you stop being a worker bee and start being someone who actually builds wealth. Because here's the hard truth. Your 4.20% savings account isn't going to make you rich. It's going to keep your money safe and ahead of inflation, which is great, but it's not going to build generational wealth. For that, you need to invest. We're talking about stocks, bonds, real estate, index funds, whatever investment vehicle matches your risk tolerance and knowledge level. The key is that your money needs to be working for you, generating returns that actually compound over time. The stock market has historically averaged 7 to 10% annual returns over the long term. Yes, it's got more risk. Yes, it goes up and down, but over time, if you're diversified and you're not panicking and selling every time there's a dip, you're going to come out way ahead. Now here's where people get confused. They ask, should I invest or should I pay off debt first? If you've got credit card debt at 20% interest, kill that first. There's no investment consistently beating 20% returns. But if you've got a mortgage at 4% or student loans at 5%, you can absolutely pay those minimums while investing at the same time. The math works out. But you can't even think about investing until you've completed the first 6 places. If you've got no emergency fund, you're one crisis away from having to sell your investments at the worst possible time. If you're drowning in high-interest debt, you're paying more in interest than you're making in returns. The order matters. Let me ask you directly, what percentage of your income are you investing right now? If the answer is 0 or I'll start next year, you're already behind. A 25-year-old who starts investing $500 a month will end up with more money at retirement than a 35-year-old who invests $1,000 a month. That's how powerful compound interest is. Investing feels scary if you've never done it before. The stock market seems like this big, complicated casino where rich people get richer and normal people lose everything. But that's not how it works when you're smart about it. Low-cost index funds, diversified portfolios, long-term thinking, that's how regular people build wealth. After you've completed all 7 of these places, after your retirement is being funded, your checking account is flowing correctly, your necessities are covered, your emergency fund is solid, your debt is being handled strategically, your income replacement is built up, and you're investing consistently, then and only then can you spend money on whatever you want guilt-free. That's when you can book the vacation. That's when you can buy the new TV. That's when you can go to that expensive restaurant without checking your bank balance first. Because you've paid yourself first. You've secured your future first. This is why people making $80,000 a year can be broke, while people making $50,000 can be building wealth. It's not about the income. It's about the system. It's about putting your money in the right places in the right order and making it automatic so you can't mess it up. So, what are you actually going to do with this information? Set up that automatic 401k contribution.
Open that high-yield savings account. Figure out which debt wave you're in. Start building your emergency fund even if it's just $50 this week. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Because here's what I know. A year from now, you're going to wish you started today.